Hey, good evening. It's We're really doing this in the afternoon. It's on the front porch with Chad Koehn, sponsored by United Capital Management and the Redneck Yacht Fund. And I'm on the line today with Parker Graham. Parker, I met through a mutual friend, a very trusted friend, about 4 years ago, and we are considering possibly investing in his company with the hedge fund, and I wanted to introduce him. And one thing I've got to correct to everybody we're going to be sending this out to. You played for the Baltimore Ravens for 1 year. I keep saying six because I forget your
Yes, sir.
history. But you graduated Webb City, Missouri, and football star for there for 4 years. How many state championships did you win at Webb City? Two.
We won two. We won two. Yeah, we almost got three, but got stopped in the playoffs by one of our rivals in my junior year. So that was a very big point of contention going into senior year, but we
And
actually
then
pulled it off.
tell me about the recruiting process at Oklahoma State. Did Gundy come to your kitchen table and bring brownies, or how did that go?
He definitely did not. No, I did not get to see the didn't get to see the mullet or anything at that point. No, interestingly enough, Gundy's definitely a more so, kind of there's all these different, coaching archetypes that people talk about. There's, the players coach, there's the CEO coach, right? And Gundy's definitely a CEO type. His coaches are really the ones that recruit. And he's more so kind of overarching the brand, if you will. And he's definitely a brand in and of himself. And so, no, I actually got recruited there by my offensive line coach, Joe Wickline. And I always love telling stories about Coach Wick because he was like that. He was that old school coach. The guy played in the '70s and '80s, ended up becoming a professional wrestler in Florida. Like he's just a wild man, a wild man, and he was very very hard nosed. And you see sports today, there's a lot of like player
Right.
coddling, and 2-a-days aren't really a thing anymore. I was like the last class in college football that had real 2-a-days. I'm talking 2 3 hour practices in the Oklahoma heat with that guy spitting on your face and breathing down your neck. But it was really interesting. Being in a small town, I was a two-star nobody, and my brother actually took a bunch of my highlight tapes and just kind of sent them across the country, all the Big 12 schools, a couple of the schools that I really liked, like USC, which didn't have a shot, but that was really cool, and then Notre Dame. Grew up Catholic, so that would have been cool to play there. And Oklahoma State, actually, out of all those schools, was the one that kind of showed a lot of interest. So I got recruited by them, got recruited by Arkansas and Mizzou. And lucky for me, God works in the most important ways, and closed the doors at Mizzou, closed the doors at Arkansas, and Oklahoma State was right there. And was blessed to be on a team for 5 years. We were actually, I think, the most winning class ever at Oklahoma State was my class. Won the Fiesta Bowl, played in two Cotton Bowls, excuse me, and played with a lot of freak athletes, and got to go play in the NFL myself. So it was a beautiful career, and a lot of fun starting with that
Yes.
with
Had
that
you
first
gone to
coach.
Arkansas or Missouri, you might not be as smart and capable as you are today. All right.
I would definitely not. Probably, I mean, I probably would have worked at Walmart. I probably wouldn't even have gotten into the banking industry and the wealth management industry, and then into software. I'd have been working at Walmart, slinging potato chips
I
or whatever I would
apologize.
have
I
been
was
doing at
just
that
kidding
point.
to our clients that graduated from the University of Missouri. Not sure we have very many from that graduated Arkansas, but probably a few out there. So
Yep.
after the NFL, all Big 12, I think, your senior year, went to the NFL for one
Yep.
year.
Yep. Yep.
Didn't have to leave. You could still be there, but you didn't want to weigh 360. You preferred to weigh a little less. And
Yeah, I still remember it clear as day. So I'm so in the NFL you have these roster cuts in the preseason, right? And so I was the last guy cut on the last day. So I was 54 on a 53-man roster. So had a really really close to making the team at that point. And they they basically in that process, you go on practice squad, and you're working your way through things, and they were like, "Yeah, Parker, we really want you to weigh 345." And I was 325 and falling apart at that point. I had a groin tear, and a tricep issue, and back issues and all this stuff. And it was very clear that there's a way to have that career and kind of be a road warrior and go from team to team for 10 years if you want to. But I saw a lot of personal finance discussions happening in the locker room with my teammates, and started actually advising people, quote unquote, advising people on what they should do because of the background that I had in college. I did some wealth management stuff while I was there. And so people were just asking me. I was a rookie, and folks were asking me what I would do with my money. And I was like, this is really weird. And these are like 6-year vets, 7-year vets, but because I knew the vernacular, that really kind of sparked my interest to get into wealth management eventually and start that process of transitioning from the league to more civilian life.
Image of Shawshank Redemption just popped into my head.
Yep, I was the Andy Dufresne.
All right, so
Yep.
then 6 years with Bank of Oklahoma, and then when you were there is when you come up with the idea for your bank app, and talk about the success of that bank app.
Yeah, so another kind of scenario where I just was paying attention to kind of the world around me, and wealth management was really just changing at that time. At that time, advising was changing. That company in particular, I was trying to do a lot of new initiatives that, they were just kind of like, oh, that's the young kid trying to do too many things too fast. And I personally just always was a person who just tried to work my butt off and try to build things that were empowering others. And when I realized after a couple of tries that wasn't going to be the company that I could really build, impactful things with, I came up with this idea to start the software company. And it really started with the fact of just banking software in general. And a lot of softwares that these older firms are broken and they're just not very usable. And so we built a technology that at the time was pretty revolutionary. It basically would help a bank or a credit union in their mobile application figure out and personalize the user experience to reflect the user actually using it. So if you're, someone who's trying to build wealth, it would reflect the products and services that you needed from that institution versus it just being the typical banking application. And that's what we started. And that was in 2018. So now it's almost 6 years into that business, and it's doing amazing. It's growing like crazy, and it's been a very big eye opener for me on not only how to build software the right way, but also just how to transition those skills that I had on the field as a leader and as a champion of others, and figuring out how to problem solve at a very high clip into how to do that in an actual business structure. And that actually in roughly 2021, when the crypto craze happened, not the crypto craze, excuse me, the NFT craze happened, and a lot of these crypto coins and ICOs were happening, that I had this new idea for the company that we have.
What's the name of the banking app for the audience?
The banking company or the technology company is called Finata. So Finotta.
Okay. So from Finata to Vestible, and speak briefly about the process with the SEC in 2021.
Oh yeah, so real quick, just a quick high level on what Vestible is. So Vestible is an investment platform, and it's regulated by the SEC and FINRA. So just like how you invest in companies like Google, Apple, and Facebook on like Robinhood or Charles Schwab or these other apps, what we built is an investment platform where athletes can sell equity in their careers to fans just like a stock. So think about investing in Pat Mahomes or the next Travis Kelce. That's the kind of platform that we created. And to do that, we were actually the first company to get the SEC to approve this kind of market to exist in the way that it exists today. So it's kind of the first of its kind. And that is not a scenario that took a short time. As you can imagine, doing this thing, it's radically new. We filed our first athlete offering, and it's just like an IPO of a company, right? Except for, as opposed to a company, it's an individual, an athlete. And that took us, we started that in May of 2023, and we finally got approved at the end of January to do our first one. So it was 10 months of back and forth and answering questions and being told that we're this kind of company, but we're not that kind of company, and explaining why, and even in a weird spot, telling the SEC, like, hey, we're following your rules. Here's the different excerpts right here, here, and here. I mean, it was like that detail oriented that we had to do, but we finally got it done.
This process, though, started in 21. Yeah,
Oh
21.
yeah, the whole
And
process
then
started
by
in 21.
November of 23, you were able to kind of got the SEC on board by then. And then FINRA by January
Yep.
26th or something like that. 2024.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's interesting.
I think it's,
Yep. Yeah, so it's interesting. So it kind of goes in waves. The way that the regulation we use is called Reg A, Regulation A, and we're a series issuer, and so it kind of goes in phases. So you do one portion with the SEC, and then a portion with FINRA, and then you file everything together at the SEC. So that's what we got accomplished by January. But I mean, we started first drafts of some of these documents in the fall of 2021. So very, very long process to make sure that we got all of our ducks in a row so we could
all
move
right.
really efficiently
And
with them.
so so kind of bottom line is you basically got the green light to go. This company, in some ways, you got it built, but it's less than 2 months old, and you want to share
Absolutely.
some of the successes that you feel comfortable airing in regards to what's happened in the last 2 months and how fast it's happened, and if you want to share, if you want to talk about being invited on any financial shows other than this one. So I'm going to let you take it
Yep.
from there.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been it's been actually received better than we could have even imagined. When we got approved in January, we started kind of putting our press releases out there and telling people what we were doing, and immediately got it picked up. I mean, the story just kind of spread like wildfire. So at this point now, we're a couple of months in. We've grown a wait list from 0 people knowing about us all the way to roughly 650 people knowing about us. And what's crazy about that is the amount of money that those individuals are wanting to put into our first offering. We've actually oversubscribed our first offering. So when I say that, our ceiling that we can raise for this first athlete is $1 million. And we are well past that $1 million threshold. So that basically means we have so much pent up demand for what we're trying to create that we've got to get our next couple of athletes ready to go, because there's going to be money sitting there ready for people to invest in other athletes. So that all happened in a very, very short time frame and is growing every single day. So now we're in this process of rolling out our app, rolling out our technology, getting these investors on board, and getting their money transferred in so we can start with our first athlete and scale as fast as possible. Because even though we are the only one that we know of that has gotten approved to do this, there definitely are going to be others. And also, good luck to them going through the process that we went through, because it is not for the faint of heart.
That's exciting. How about invites to financial shows other than this one? Go there or not?
Yeah, yeah. So thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah, so it's been kind of interesting. So we've gotten invited to do. I mean, we've been in. I'll kind of start with this piece. In February, we were in 300 of the biggest publications in the country. So think like New York Post, Forbes, USA Today, ABC News, Fox News, all these different places picked this up, which was awesome. And that's all led to now we're getting a lot of interest from some of these business type of shows. So CNBC is one that we did a preliminary call with pretty recently to kind of put us on the list to do a bigger call with them and actually even go to the studio and do a segment with them here in the near future as we finish out this first athlete offering. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be the next big one we're going to push out.
Exciting. Your app went live a week ago Monday.
It did, yeah. It went live a week ago. We have our first couple of investors in there kind of banging on it, trying to find bugs and squash bugs. As with all technologies, everything has bugs until you find them and fix them. And so we're in that part of the journey right now, on our way to releasing it for our full investor list and then kind of releasing it out in the wild for everybody else. So it's going to be a fun, really, next 3 weeks as we kind of scale that out.
So what we're going to do is next week we're going to go to the hedge fund investors and have you present even greater detail to them, and but this will hopefully so, well, Parker, have a
Absolutely.
great weekend. So